Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland. You know what? I knew this video was coming one day. A day would come when two of our prophets of right thinking, two of our harbingers of a brave new world, two of rock's greatest icons and egomaniacs would clash. What am I talking about? Well, let the catfight begin. All right, folks, so in this corner, we have Bono, lead singer and co-writer to many of U2's greatest hits and loudmouth extraordinaire. Yes, the same Bono who is best buddies with Jan Winter, formerly with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, why is that important? Well, think about why Jan Winter's no longer around in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I love it. The second he leaves, they nominate Foreigner. More on that in a future video. But Jan Winter, best buddies with Bono. Remember, he even calls him B, all right? Jan Winter thinks black rockers and women rockers aren't articulate enough to be included in his recent book. Add that to the fact that Bono, out to save the starving millions in Africa, has been criticized by Africa for his foreign aid organization and his connections to Madison Square Garden Entertainment. And of course, that being said, that draws him into the very place where he is performing in a residency. Yes, that insane glowing ball in the middle of the desert on the West Coast, the Las Vegas Sphere. And in the other corner, Roger Waters. Roger Waters of Pink Floyd fame, famous for stepping up to the plate at a critical time in Pink Floyd's development, becoming their main songwriter and the progenitor of a couple of good solo albums. But also a man who runs his concerts closer to induction centers as far as I'm concerned. He has been known to say to his paying audience, if you don't like what I'm saying, f*** off and leave. Of course, he's a big critic of Israel, or at least the government of Israel. He strongly denies allegations that he is an anti-Semite. I don't see him as an anti-Semite, just a mixed up kind of guy. How mixed up is he? Well, evidently, Bono and U2 did a tribute during their residency concerning those who were killed on October 7th, I believe that's the date, of last year. And of course, Roger Waters, who is famous for showing up where he's not wanted. Remember his shenanigans in Germany last year? Germany, who is bound and determined not to be identified with anything having to do with Hitler or Nazis, did not want him to play because he wore a Nazi uniform on that tour. Now, to be fair with Roger, Roger says he's only playing a character, but Roger slips in and out of character quite a bit at his concerts, and when he's still wearing what appears to be a Nazi uniform, well, as far as I'm concerned, he needs to be very careful with what he has to say. And also, best friends with Putin, evidently representing him in front of the United Nations. The man just can't stop. Now, I want to get back to what Bono did. I don't think what Bono did belonged at the Las Vegas Sphere. Now, he thinks he's being a humanitarian. That's fine. And if he's asked during an interview what he thinks is going on over there, I think that's wonderful. But this is a rock concert, and as you guys know, I think there are certain things that don't belong at a live music event. I don't go to those events, nor will I go to any event, so I don't go see one of my biggest heroes, Roger Waters, or Bono for that matter of fact, because of their damned mouths. But Bono did that, and not to be outdone, Roger Waters came to the fore and called Bono an enormous shit. This from the man who sued his own band, who fired Richard Wright, a founding member of that band, and controlled that band to the point that none of them wanted anything to do with him. Who is the enormous shit out of the two? Now, for those of you who think I might be attacking the left side, you'd be dead wrong. I don't want to hear Ted Nugent's mouth any more than I want to hear these two clowns. I want to go to a rock concert, listen to the music, and here's the thing, folks. If they have something to say, put it in your lyrics, right? That's even better. That's for prosperity. But I don't want to hear you or your fellow Hollywood actors open up your freaking mouths anymore. You know, I got news for you superstars out there. There's a whole lot of us on the left and on the right, and a whole ton of us somewhere in the middle that have about had it with your shenanigans. It is time to put a stop to this nonsense. If you pay at the gate, you shouldn't be invited to leave by some freaking moron who haven't even got a freaking clue of how hard it is to actually make the bucks to pay for their inflated ticket prices. Now, if you ask me who's the biggest shit between these two, that has got to go to Roger Waters. But I am still a fan of him as a writer, as a bass player, even a vocalist, limited though he is, and especially as a songwriter and a member of my third favorite band in rock and roll, Pink Floyd. And the same thing goes for Bono. I'm a fan of his music. Back when he wrote music, and of U2, they're one of my favorite bands in rock and roll also. Now, here's the thing to remember about these guys, folks. It really gets down to this. It doesn't matter what their politics are, what their beliefs are. The fact is they are out there preaching, raising their ticket prices, and what do we get from them? From Roger Waters, we get an assassination remake of Dark Side of the Moon. From U2, we get, what was it, 40 Love Songs, whatever that piece of crap was, which was barely a reworking of some of their past stuff. Talk about soaking up the syrup in the bowl with your toast. Both of these guys have been milking their fans for far too long. All right, folks, that's the video for today. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up. That always helps with YouTube growth, right? It helps the algorithm send the video to a wider audience, and we get more views, we get more subs. The channel grows. Oh, and another thing, thank you so much. I put a notification in my communities page asking for just 4 of you to show up and to sign up to Royce in the House. And evidently, at least 4 of you did. Thank you so much. Royce Eddings from Royce in the House has now reached 1,000 subs. You know, Royce isn't just a friend of mine and another channel that I occasionally show up for. Royce is also of the tribe. So don't stop. Keep subbing him, all right? And he's got a really great idea for streaming this weekend, and I'm gonna do everything I can to be on that stream. We've talked behind the lines. I think you're gonna like it. All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line as I see it, all right? Again, put your thoughts in the comments, be respectful, and we'll hear your side of the story. Because when that happens, that's how we become a tribe. Not an automatron collective in any sort of way, but a tribe of people who have different political agendas, different tastes in music, all of that. And when that happens, we are the tribe. All right, folks, I'll see you in my next video.